Chapter 1. Lily spent the first few minutes after meeting the mysterious man, who, she had learned, was named Zane and was apparently a big deal around here, trying to figure out if she was in some sort of weird dream. One minute she was dealing with the absolute chaos of being hit by a car, and the next, she was surrounded by tall, muscular men with glowing eyes who called themselves werewolves. She rubbed her temples. This was fine. She could deal with this. Probably. So, wait. Lily started, glancing at Sierra, who was walking ahead of her through the woods like she'd done this 1,000 times before. How does this whole werewolf thing work exactly? Like, do I have to go through some sort of initiation? Do I get a cool werewolf name? Are there secret handshakes? Because honestly, if I'm going to be part of a pack, I need to know if there are rules, and I need to know them now. Sierra turned her head slightly and shot Lily a wry smile. First of all, no secret handshakes. Second, you'll figure it out. The wolf inside you will take over soon enough. The only real rule is don't cause trouble. And don't go trying to bite people. Trust me, it doesn't go over well. Lily frowned. Well, I wasn't planning on biting anyone. That's weird. I'm not a rabid dog, okay? You might feel differently after the full moon, Sierra said, her tone light but a little too knowing for comfort. Full moon? Wait, so there's a full moon thing too? Why is it always the full moon with these things? Is there some sort of werewolf contract that says everything dramatic has to happen during the full moon? Am I going to be turning into a giant wolf at midnight and howling at the sky? Sierra chuckled softly. That's exactly what's going to happen, yes. Great. Just great, Lily muttered, her thoughts spiraling. So I'm basically turning into a werewolf, and now I have to somehow live with the knowledge that I'm going to be howling at the moon in front of a bunch of other people? Sierra turned around fully now, her smile amused. Yep. And don't worry, you'll be in good company. You won't be the only one. I'm starting to have second thoughts about this whole being part of a pack thing, Lily said, her voice laced with mock despair. I was hoping for a quiet life, maybe with a cute dog, some Netflix, and a cup of tea. Instead, I get this. Before Sierra could answer, a low growl rumbled through the air, making Lily freeze in her tracks. She hadn't heard it at first, but now it was impossible to ignore. The sound was unsettling. And way too familiar. That's Zane, right? Lily asked, eyes wide. Sierra nodded. Yes, and he's about to give you a quick tour of the pack grounds. Lily turned around to face Zane, her heart inexplicably pounding. He was standing a few feet behind her, his golden eyes glinting with something she couldn't quite place. And of course, there was that annoying "I'm your mate" thing hanging in the AIR. IT didn't help that he looked like he could either protect her from 100 wild animals or eat them. You ready? Zane asked, his voice gravelly and too smooth for her comfort. Ready for what? Lily asked, trying to act like she wasn't internally freaking out. A tour, right? So, is there like a Werewolf 101 class? Is that what's happening? Zane didn't respond at first, just staring at her like he was waiting for something. Finally, he said, we'll start with the basics. But honestly, you're going to get used to this life faster than you think. And when you do, you'll be more than ready for the full moon. Lily sighed dramatically. Great. First step to becoming a werewolf, accept the fact that you might become a giant, fur-covered creature that can't stop howling at the moon. Zane didn't smile, but Lily swore she saw a flicker of amusement in his eyes before he turned and walked ahead. She followed him into the woods. Lily couldn't help but feel one thing. She had no idea what she was getting herself into. Chapter 2. Lily tried to shake off the weirdness of her new reality. Werewolves. Glowing eyes. Zane. She was walking alongside him, trying not to trip over the roots in the forest floor. Sierra had vanished into the trees, leaving them alone. Just her and the "I'm the alpha werewolf." So, Lily started, trying to fill the awkward silence. Tell me more about this whole werewolf pack thing. Is it like a cult? A secret society? Do you guys have your own werewolf version of Costco, or is that just my overactive imagination running wild? Zane didn't respond at first. His eyes scanned the woods, ever alert. He looked like he belonged here, like he was part of this world. Maybe he was, probably. She'd been told she was part of the pack now too, though that was still a concept she was trying to wrap her mind around. Hello? Lily waved a hand in front of him, then laughed awkwardly. Is this the part where you get all mysterious and tell me that you'll learn in time? Zane's golden eyes flicked to hers for a second, his lips curling slightly. You're good at talking, aren't you? I'm just trying to survive here, Lily muttered. Give me a break. He gave a short chuckle, but said nothing as they continued walking. The sound of birds and distant rustling filled the air. It was peaceful, unsettlingly so. She wasn't used to forests. She wasn't used to werewolves, either. Okay, Lily finally said, trying again. Let's talk about something practical. Like, do I get a cool werewolf name, or do I just stay Lily and deal with the fact that I'm now that person in the pack? You know, the one who still doesn't know what she's doing. Zane stopped walking abruptly, causing Lily to bump into his back. She flailed for a second before catching herself. He turned his head and gave her a side-eye. No cool names, he said, his voice low but somehow amused. But you do need to get used to the fact that you're no longer just human. Lily sighed dramatically. Yeah, I figured that out after the whole glowing eyes and werewolf thing. Just trying to make light of it. You know, survive the awkwardness. Zane's lips twitched again, and for the briefest moment, Lily could have sworn she saw something like warmth in his expression. You're different. Lily raised an eyebrow. Different? Different how? He didn't answer right away, instead leading her through a thicket of trees. You'll see soon enough. You're part of the pack now. Lily frowned, struggling to keep up with his pace. Great. More mysterious, cryptic stuff. Fantastic. They reached a clearing and Zane finally stopped. This is it. Lily glanced around, confused. Wait, that's it? This is where I'm supposed to turn into a werewolf. Zane smirked. Welcome to your new home. Chapter 3. Lily stared at the clearing in front of her, half expecting a pack of werewolves to leap out of the trees and perform some sort of dramatic welcome ritual. Instead, all she saw were a few rustic cabins, a large bonfire in the center, and a couple of people lounging around. She narrowed her eyes. This is it? This is the mysterious werewolf hideout? It looks like summer camp but with more intimidating vibes. Zane, who had been walking ahead, stopped and glanced back at her. You'll get used to it. Lily crossed her arms, unimpressed. This is not what I imagined. I was expecting, like, a giant fortress or a secret lair with intricate underground tunnels. You know, something cool. You're thinking of a vampire lair, Zane said dryly. Werewolves don't need any of that. We're pretty low maintenance. Lily tilted her head. So, no underground lair, no secret staircases. Got it. Zane didn't seem to care about her sarcasm as he led her closer to the bonfire, where a few other werewolves were gathered, chatting and laughing like it was just another evening. One of them waved at Zane, clearly greeting him like an old friend. Is there a party happening that I wasn't invited to? Lily asked, raising an eyebrow. I mean, I'm not exactly the life of the party, but I'm willing to give it a try if that's what being a werewolf is all about. Zane turned to her, his expression unchanging. We don't have parties, but you'll learn to fit in. She stared at him. So what? I just hang around the fire and wait to turn into a wolf. Pretty much, Zane replied. But there's more to it than just the transformation. You'll be training, learning how to control your instincts. Lily snorted. Training? Like a werewolf fitness program? Do I get a membership card? Zane raised an eyebrow. It's more about your mind. You're not just a wolf, you're part of a pack now. And you need to learn how to work with the others. Right, Lily said, rolling her eyes. Pack dynamics. Got it. Like a furry corporate team-building exercise. Zane's lips quirked slightly. If you think that's all there is to it, then you'll have a lot to learn. I bet I will, Lily said, sighing dramatically. So, what? Am I supposed to just stand here and get zapped with werewolf knowledge? You'll pick it up, Zane said, finally looking a little more relaxed. But for now, you can meet some of the others. Lily eyed the group around the bonfire, none of them seeming particularly thrilled to meet a new member. She could already feel her anxiety creeping up. This was a lot for someone who still wasn't entirely sure she believed in werewolves. With a resigned sigh, she followed Zane toward the fire. She figured she might as well get used to it. After all, if she was stuck with this pack, she might as well try to make it through without completely embarrassing herself. As they approached the fire, Zane threw her a glance. "Remember, no biting anyone yet." Lily blinked. "Wait, are we allowed to bite people at all?" Zane's grin was all teeth. "Not unless you're really mad." Chapter 4. Lily tried to mask her nerves as she followed Zane toward the bonfire. She wasn't sure what kind of greeting she was expecting from the pack, but awkward silence was definitely not on the list. She had no idea if they'd accept her or view her as the weird new recruit who probably didn't belong. And by the looks on their faces, that was exactly what she was. "Lily, this is Kira," Zane said, gesturing to a tall, dark-haired woman who was standing by the fire, poking at the logs with a stick. "She's our resident troublemaker." Kira looked up and gave Lily a slow, scrutinizing glance, like she was deciding whether or not Lily was worthy of a smile. "Nice to meet you," she said dryly, clearly not all that excited about it. Lily, trying to be diplomatic, flashed her a friendly grin. "Yeah, totally. So, do you guys, what's the word, train here? Like, do you give us lessons on how to be good werewolves? I'm kind of new to this whole suddenly having fur and a tail thing." Kira raised an eyebrow. "That's what we all say at first," she said with a smirk. "You'll get used to it. Just don't bite anyone who annoys you too much." "Good advice," Lily said, nodding. "I'll keep that in mind." Zane, who had been standing off to the side, exchanged a look with Kira. It was brief, but Lily noticed it. Something about it made her feel like there was more going on here than just casual conversation. It didn't help that Kira's eyes kept flicking over to Lily like she was trying to figure her out. "Do you ever feel like you're going to lose control?" Lily asked, glancing at Zane. She wasn't sure why she was asking him of all people, but the words just slipped out. Like, what if I get mad and can't control it? Will I just turn into a wolf and attack someone? Zane seemed to take her question seriously, his face softening slightly. "The first time's always the hardest. But don't worry, you're not alone in this. You'll learn to control it." He paused. "We all go through it." Lily nodded, but her mind was racing. What if she did lose control? What if she turned into a werewolf in the middle of town? She couldn't even imagine what would happen. The last thing she wanted was to cause a scene, especially in front of people she barely knew. "Hey, don't worry about it too much," Kira said, her tone a little more friendly now. "You'll learn fast. Just make sure you don't accidentally bite anyone during your first full moon. We don't need any more lawsuits." Lily blinked. "Wait, lawsuits? You guys get sued." Zane shot Kira a warning look, but she just shrugged. "Hey, it's happened." Lily couldn't help but laugh. "Great. Werewolves with a lawyer problem. Just what I need." Chapter 5. Lily lay wide awake in the small, creaky bed that was now hers. The cabin was quiet, save for the occasional rustling of trees outside. She stared up at the ceiling, her mind racing with everything that had happened since Zane had dropped the bombshell about her being part of the werewolf pack. Her first full moon was coming up, and she still had absolutely no idea how to deal with it. She turned over, staring at the wall. The soft glow of the moonlight through the trees did nothing to calm her nerves. Zane had said she'd learn to control it. She wasn't so sure. What if she woke up one night as a giant wolf and completely wrecked the cabin? What if she woke up in a field, surrounded by fur, and had no idea how to get home? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps outside her door. She sat up, straining to hear. The door creaked open just a little, and she tensed, thinking someone was coming in to deliver a werewolf wisdom speech or, worse, force her to undergo a ridiculous initiation. But when the figure stepped inside, it wasn't anyone she expected. "Oh, great," Lily muttered. "What are you doing here?" Zane leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed and looking unbothered. "Can't sleep?" "Nope," she replied. "Just, worrying about the whole turning into a wolf and attacking people thing." Zane gave her a sideways grin. "You're overthinking it. You'll be fine." "Right," she said, deadpan. I'll just transform into a furry beast and everything will be totally fine. No big deal. Zane pushed himself off the doorframe and stepped into the room, leaning against the wall. You need to relax. We can train more tomorrow. You can train, she shot back. I can barely stay awake long enough to pay attention. I've never even had to control an anger transformation, let alone a full moon one. Zane's face softened, though the corners of his lips still twitched. You'll be fine, he repeated. It's not about controlling the wolf. It's about accepting it. You're part of the pack now, Lily. Embrace it. She let out a frustrated sigh. Okay, but no promises. The whole wolf transformation thing is a bit of a stressor right now. Fair, Zane said, his voice gentle now. But hey, I'm here if you need someone to talk to, or if you just need someone to stop you from freaking out. Lily blinked. You. He gave her a cocky grin. What can I say? I'm the best at reassuring people. If you want to survive this, I'm your guy. Lily raised an eyebrow. You're the only guy, aren't you? He didn't respond immediately. Instead, his grin widened. Maybe? Lily rolled her eyes, but despite herself, she felt a little less anxious. Just a little. Chapter 6 the next day, Lily found herself standing at the edge of the training area, watching Zane and a few other pack members spar. She'd been told she needed to train to control her wolf side, but the thought of transforming in front of everyone while potentially embarrassing herself had her second-guessing everything. But apparently, it was time to get serious. Come on, Lily. Zane called from the center of the clearing, grinning. Stop standing there like a deer in headlights and join us. Lily hesitated for a second, biting her lip. She could already feel her nerves bubbling up. I'm just here to watch, not get mauled by a werewolf in training, thanks. Zane rolled his eyes dramatically. You're not going to get mauled. Just come over here. With a sigh, Lily walked over, trying to act casual. There were a few werewolves, Kira included, engaged in a mock fight. They weren't going full force, but there was enough growling and sudden movements to make Lily feel like she was watching an intense animal documentary. Are we supposed to look this fierce? She asked, crossing her arms as she took in the scene. Pretty much, Zane said, giving her a wink before demonstrating a quick swipe at one of the other werewolves, who dodged it effortlessly. Lily was about to ask something sarcastic when Zane turned to her with a serious look on his face. You need to understand something. Being a werewolf is about more than just fighting or running fast. It's about your instincts. You have to trust them. Right, Lily replied, unconvinced. So I'm supposed to trust my instincts while trying not to bite people's faces off. Zane chuckled. That's the idea. You're not just a wolf, you're part of something bigger now. It's all about the pack. Lily wasn't sure if that made her feel better or worse. The idea of being part of a pack felt a little cultish. She didn't exactly trust her instincts right now, especially when her instincts were telling her to run the other direction every time Zane got too close. Kira, noticing the conversation, walked over, her smirk as sharp as ever. So, what's the deal, new recruit? You gonna join the fight, or do we just stand here and watch Zane be the big, brooding hero? Lily rolled her eyes. I'm not here to fight, Kira. I'm just trying to not faint from the overwhelming amount of werewolf drama. Zane's eyes flicked between them before he put an arm around Lily's shoulder. Don't worry, we'll start you slow. Maybe just a few rounds of running. Lily blinked at him. Running? Like in a race? Yep. But with more. Howling, he added, grinning. Lily stared at him in horror. I swear to God, if you make me howl like a wolf in front of these people, you'll be fine, Zane interrupted, chuckling. Let's get started. Chapter 7. Lily stood at the starting line of a makeshift track that Zane had set up, eyeing the path warily. It wasn't a race, he had assured her. It was about getting in touch with her wolf side, which, in her mind, translated to something way more embarrassing. The pack members were already gathered, watching with varying levels of amusement. You're really doing this, huh? Kira called out from the sidelines, her voice dripping with mock sweetness. Shut up, Kira, Lily muttered under her breath, trying to ignore the knot of dread in her stomach. The last thing she needed was to be the center of attention for another one of Zane's wild training exercises. Zane, oblivious to her discomfort, stood on the opposite side, his arms crossed as he watched her. "All right, Lily," he said, his tone suddenly serious. "We're not looking for speed. Just focus on how your body feels. Let your instincts guide you. If you need to let the wolf out, just let it happen." She shot him an incredulous look. "Just let it happen? I'm supposed to let the wolf out like it's some kind of party trick." "Exactly," he replied with an almost too casual grin. "But no howling unless you're really feeling it." Lily let out a frustrated sigh. "What if I don't feel it? What if I feel like tripping over my own feet instead?" "You'll figure it out," Zane said, giving her an encouraging nod. "Trust your instincts." She couldn't believe she was even listening to this nonsense. She was a normal person who happened to be stuck in a situation where she had no idea how to handle a sudden, uncontrollable wolf side. There was no manual for this. And the last thing she wanted was to look like a complete fool. "All right, Lily, show us what you've got," Kira called, grinning like a cat who'd just caught a mouse. Lily took a deep breath and, with no other choice, launched herself into the track. At first, she was clumsy. Her legs felt too long, her coordination off, but then something strange happened. Her body seemed to find its rhythm, and before she knew it, she was moving faster. Her feet barely touched the ground, and the air felt lighter around her. It was almost like her body was in sync with the earth, as though she was born to run. She couldn't stop herself. Her wolf side wanted to run, and before she realized it, she was speeding around the track with an ease she hadn't known she had. "Nice." Zane called from the sidelines, clearly impressed. "You've got this." Lily barely heard him, too focused on the wind in her face and the exhilarating rush of power in her legs. For the first time since this whole werewolf thing started, she felt alive. And then, with no warning, she stumbled and nearly face-planted into the dirt. Laughter erupted behind her. "Yeah, that's how it usually goes," Kira teased. Not even trying to hide her amusement, Lily groaned, pushing herself up from the dirt. "Can I just get one day without humiliating myself?" Zane approached, offering her a hand. "You'll get the hang of it. Just remember, running is the easy part." "Great," Lily muttered, taking his hand. "What's next? Wrestling a bear?" Zane laughed. "Not yet." Chapter 8. Lily had been hoping for a day off from the werewolf training circus, but, of course, that wasn't in the cards. Zane showed up at her door early the next morning with that infamous grin on his face. "You ready?" he asked, eyes sparkling with mischief. Lily looked at him, her face blank. "Ready for what?" "You mean I'm supposed to keep running and tripping over my own feet until I become a werewolf expert?" Zane chuckled. "Pretty much." She sighed dramatically, but her curiosity was piqued. She wasn't exactly getting the hang of this whole werewolf thing, but there was something oddly thrilling about it. She just hated the constant humiliation. "All right, what's the plan today?" she asked, resigned to her fate. Zane leaned in, dropping his voice to a serious tone. "We're going to teach you to control your shift." Lily blinked. "Control my shift? How does that even work?" "Relax," Zane said, pushing her out the door. "It's not as hard as it sounds. We're just going to make sure you can handle it when the full moon comes around. It's about focus, trust, and not freaking out." "Sounds easy," Lily said, clearly skeptical. "Why do I feel like I'm about to get stuck in the woods in a state of uncontrollable werewolf rage?" Zane's face softened. "You're not going to go into a rage. Trust me." "Easier said than done," Lily muttered, but she followed him out toward the forest clearing anyway. The pack had been practicing in the same spot, and she had to admit, the idea of being out here in the fresh air made her feel a little less trapped. As they reached the clearing, Zane started giving her instructions, speaking in a calm, authoritative voice. "Now, I want you to focus on your breath," he said. "Take deep, steady breaths. Calm your mind. Let the wolf side of you feel the earth. You're not fighting it. You're embracing it." Lily tried to focus, breathing deeply as instructed. She'd done meditation before, but this was something else entirely. Her body felt warm, a strange energy pulsing under her skin. Her instincts, those ridiculous things she'd tried to ignore, were now right at the surface, ready to take over. Zane watched her, arms crossed, his gaze intense but encouraging. Good. Now, focus on shifting. Don't force it. Let it happen. Lily squeezed her eyes shut. She had no idea how this would go, but she had to at least try. She was tired of feeling like an outsider in her own body, and maybe, just maybe, this could help. A soft growl escaped her lips. That's it, Zane murmured, taking a step closer. You're getting it. Lily's heart raced. She felt something deep within her stirring. This wasn't as impossible as she had thought. Chapter 9. Lily woke up the next morning with the weirdest sensation in her chest. It wasn't like she was going to transform right then and there, but something felt different. She could almost feel the wolf, her wolf, still there, lurking beneath the surface. It was like she had a second heartbeat now, one that thudded in sync with her own, but not quite. It was unsettling, yet oddly comforting. She groaned, rolling out of bed. As much as she hated to admit it, Zane had been right. Training had actually helped. She was starting to feel more connected to her wolf side. But that didn't mean she was looking forward to the upcoming full moon. She still didn't trust herself not to accidentally tear the whole town apart. Lily made her way to the small kitchen area of the cabin, her mind still preoccupied with yesterday's shift training. Zane had said she'd get it eventually, but she still had a hard time imagining herself actually controlling the change. She'd barely been able to focus on breathing properly, let alone shifting into a wolf at will. Just as she was pouring herself a cup of coffee, the sound of boots on the porch made her freeze. She knew exactly who it was before the knock on the door. Zane, you really do love the sound of your own boots, don't you? She called, rolling her eyes. Zane grinned as he entered without waiting for an invitation. I was hoping you were ready to train again. Lily raised an eyebrow. Again? Didn't we do enough yesterday? I'm still recovering from nearly face-planting on the dirt track. Zane chuckled. Yeah, that was classic. But today's a big day. Oh, great, she said dryly, sipping her coffee. What's the plan? Are we running again? Or are you going to throw me into the woods and see if I can find my way back as a wolf? He held up his hands in mock surrender. No, nothing like that. We're going to practice shifting again, but in a safer environment this time. The moon's getting closer, so I need to know you can handle it. Lily groaned. I can barely handle being awake at this point, and you want me to control a shift? This sounds like a disaster in the making. Zane's expression softened. It's not as scary as you think. Trust me, you'll get it. And I'll be here if you need backup. Lily gave him a skeptical look. That's reassuring. I'm always reassuring, Zane said with a grin. Come on, let's go. As they stepped outside, Lily could see the pack members already gathered for the morning's training. But today, Zane wasn't going to let her just watch. She was in the spotlight. Well, she muttered under her breath, at least I'm not tripping over my own feet today. Zane shot her a playful wink. That's the spirit. Let's see what you've got, Lily. Chapter 10. The sun was high in the sky, casting a warm glow over the clearing. Lily stood with Zane beside her, feeling the eyes of the pack on her. Great, she was officially the new recruit who could barely run without tripping, and now she was going to attempt shifting in front of everyone. Her stomach was doing somersaults. All right, Lily, Zane said, his voice low but firm. You've got this. Just focus. Let the wolf side come through when you're ready. Lily swallowed hard, looking around the clearing at the curious pack members. It was one thing to be a werewolf among humans, quite another to be surrounded by actual wolves who could rip her apart if she messed up. What if I can't do it? She muttered under her breath, anxiety creeping in. What if I shift into a tiny, fluffy wolf or something ridiculous? Zane's lips twitched as he tried to hide a grin. Trust me, your wolf side won't be fluffy. Besides, I'm right here if you need backup. She shot him a glare. That's what I'm afraid of. Zane chuckled but didn't push further. Instead, he stepped back, allowing her to take center stage in the clearing. Lily took a deep breath. She focused on the same steady breaths she'd practiced with him before, closing her eyes and trying to clear her mind. The process had to be slow and controlled, no rush. The wolf was in there somewhere, ready to come out. She just had to trust it. A familiar warmth spread through her chest, like an ember slowly catching fire. She felt the pull of something deep inside, something primal. It was hard to describe, but it was like her body was both resisting and yearning for the change at the same time. She could feel her bones shifting beneath her skin, muscles tensing in strange ways. "That's it," Zane encouraged, his voice coming from somewhere behind her. "Let it happen." She clenched her fists, trying to steady her mind. Suddenly, she felt her body grow rigid, her skin tingling as her senses heightened. Every sound, every movement, every smell was sharper, clearer. Her heart rate sped up, and before she could stop it, her body began to change, her fingers twisted, and within moments, her hands were claws. Her spine arched as her bones elongated, and her vision blurred, no longer human, but not fully wolf yet either. It was a strange middle ground, a feeling that was both horrifying and exhilarating. The pack stood frozen, watching her transformation with bated breath. Zane stepped closer, his eyes wide but focused. "Good," he said, his voice warm and calm. "Keep it under control." But Lily could feel herself slipping. It was like being pulled under a current she didn't fully understand, struggling against the tide. Chapter 11. Lily's breathing quickened, and she clenched her jaw as her body continued to change. Her arms were longer, and her fingers, now claws, scratched the dirt beneath her. She felt her bones crack and rearrange, but the worst part was the complete loss of control. She could hear her heart pounding, each beat shaking her whole body. "What's happening?" she gasped, trying to regain some semblance of her human mind. "I can't stop it." Zane was there in an instant, his hand on her shoulder, his touch firm but comforting. "You're doing fine. Just focus, Lily." It's normal to feel this way the first time. But she wasn't sure. The pull of the wolf was strong, tugging at her senses, dragging her deeper into the transformation. Her eyes burned, and when she blinked, she saw the world differently, everything sharper, more vivid. Her hearing was like a barrage of noise, each sound amplified and foreign. I can't think straight," she yelled, panic creeping into her voice. Zane stepped closer, crouching down to her level. "You've got to breathe, Lily. In and out. Focus on the wolf, not the fear." The words were simple enough, but the fear was overwhelming. She didn't know who she was in this moment, didn't know if she could come back from it. Her instincts, those damn instincts she hadn't asked for, were taking over. "Lily, focus," Zane urged, his voice low and steady. She took a shuddering breath. Her chest felt tight, but she didn't have time to analyze it. She just followed his voice, the grounding warmth of it pulling her back from the edge. Suddenly, it clicked. She wasn't supposed to fight it. She wasn't supposed to control it completely. She was supposed to accept it. With a gasp, she let go. The transformation slowed, her body no longer fighting her human side, no longer pushing her into full wolf form. The pressure in her chest eased, and the tension in her limbs softened. Her claws retracted, and her vision returned to normal. For a moment, she was frozen, standing in the middle of the clearing, her body trembling as if she'd just run a marathon. "Wow," she breathed, the world feeling both foreign and familiar all at once. Zane stood back, watching her with a proud smile. "You did it." Lily let out a nervous laugh, wiping a bead of sweat from her forehead. "That was terrifying." "You got through it," Zane said, his voice full of pride. "And that's all that matters." She looked around, feeling a mix of disbelief and triumph. "I didn't think I could do it." "You're stronger than you realize," he said, his smile softening. She took a deep breath, still trying to calm her racing heart. "Well, let's just hope I don't accidentally tear down the forest next time." Zane's grin returned. "We'll work on that." Chapter 12. Lily woke up the next morning with sore muscles and a sense of pride that she hadn't expected. Her first real shift had been a mess, but she'd managed it. Sort of. Maybe not perfectly, but she hadn't torn apart the forest, and that was progress. Still, it felt like a small victory in a world that kept throwing bigger challenges her way. Stretching, she groaned, her body stiff. She could still feel the leftover tension from the shift, her muscles reminding her of how close she'd come to losing it entirely. The fact that she hadn't, though, that was something. But of course, Zane had other plans for her today. A knock on her door sounded, and she sighed dramatically before getting up to answer it. No rest for the wicked, right? Zane was leaning against the doorframe, his usual grin plastered on his face. "You ready?" "For what?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Are we running through the forest again? Or is it another round of, let's see how much Lily can handle before she cries?" Zane chuckled, but there was something different in his eyes. "Today's the full moon. I need to make sure you're ready for it." Lily froze, the words hitting her like a ton of bricks. "The full moon? It's here already." He nodded, his expression turning serious. "Yeah, it's important. The full moon's different for every wolf, but you need to be able to control yourself when it comes." Lily felt her heart rate spike. She hadn't even thought about the full moon since she'd started training. The idea of being around all the other werewolves, feeling the pull of the moon, and the wolf instincts running wild was more than a little terrifying. "I don't think I'm ready for that," she muttered, feeling a sudden wave of panic. "What if I can't control myself? What if I shift and, I don't know, bite someone's leg off?" Zane's eyes softened, and he stepped into the room, his hand brushing her shoulder. "You won't. Not if you trust yourself. And trust me." Lily took a deep breath, nodding slowly. "Okay, let's do this." The full moon had always been something she'd heard about in stories. Stories about creatures who couldn't control their urges. Stories that made the idea of turning into a werewolf seem like the most terrifying thing imaginable. But now, standing here with Zane's reassuring presence beside her, she wasn't so sure. Maybe it wasn't the moon that made werewolves dangerous. Maybe it was their fear of what they could become. And maybe, just maybe, she could become something stronger than she ever imagined. Chapter 13, the full moon had arrived, and with it, a strange kind of tension. The night air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, and Lily could feel it in her bones. The pull of the moon was undeniable, like a magnet dragging at the very core of her being. She'd spent the last few hours pacing around the cabin, trying to shake off the nerves. But no amount of pacing could prepare her for the chaos that was about to unfold. Zane had been unusually quiet since dinner, and now, as the moon hung high in the sky, he stood outside the cabin, looking out over the clearing, his eyes glinting in the moonlight. Lily stepped up beside him, her nerves jangling. "I'm not ready for this," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Zane glanced at her, his expression unreadable. "You're more ready than you think." Lily wasn't so sure. Her mind kept replaying everything she'd learned in training, the shift, the control, the instincts, but none of that seemed to matter when faced with the real thing. The full moon wasn't just a test of strength. It was a test of control, and Lily wasn't sure she had enough to keep herself from losing it. "I can't promise I won't tear something up," she muttered, crossing her arms over her chest. Zane's lips curled into a smile. "You won't. Trust me. But if you do, I'll be there to pick up the pieces." Lily gave him a skeptical look, but there was a warmth in his eyes that made her feel like maybe, just maybe, she could trust him. And herself. The first shift was always the hardest. The moon's energy surged through the air, and Lily felt it, every inch of her body humming with the change, the wolf within her waking up with a hunger she could barely contain. She took a deep breath, focusing on the steady rise and fall of her chest. "Focus," Zane said, his voice calm, almost soothing. "Don't fight it." Lily squeezed her eyes shut, letting go of the tension in her muscles. Slowly, the shift started. It wasn't the violent transformation from before, but a steady, almost gentle change. Her bones stretched and shifted beneath her skin, her muscles tightening as she grew stronger. Her senses sharpened, the world around her becoming clearer with every passing second. Her claws emerged, her fur sprouting in patches along her arms, but she wasn't fully a wolf yet. Not yet. The moonlight wrapped around her like a blanket, and Lily took another breath. This time, she didn't fight it. She embraced it. Zane's voice broke through her thoughts, calm and steady. You're doing great. Lily smiled, feeling a sense of pride bubble up inside her. Maybe she could handle this after all. Chapter 14. Lily's transformation was smoother than she had ever expected. The shift that once felt impossible was now fluid, almost natural. Her body elongated, her muscles and bones growing with a strange grace she hadn't anticipated. Her senses were heightened beyond anything she'd experienced before, and the world around her felt sharper, more vivid. The hum of the pack's energy was all around her, and it felt like home. She blinked and looked around, her eyes scanning the clearing. The full moon illuminated everything, casting long shadows over the trees. The sounds of the forest were clearer now, the rustling of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the faint footsteps of other wolves in the pack. She could smell the earth beneath her paws, the fresh scent of pine, the cool air. But most of all, she could smell Zane. He stood a few feet away, watching her with a small, approving smile. His wolfish eyes gleamed in the moonlight, and for a moment, Lily realized just how much she had come to rely on him. How much she needed him. The bond between them, whatever it was, felt stronger in that moment than it ever had before. See? Not so bad, Zane said, stepping closer, his voice smooth and confident. Lily growled softly in agreement, more amused than anything else. Not so bad? I feel like I'm on the verge of tearing everything apart. Zane chuckled, his laugh low and rich with amusement. It's the first full moon. You're not going to tear anything apart. Trust me. Her ears flicked back as she turned to face him, her tail swishing behind her. She couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of connection to him now, more than ever before. It was like the wolf inside her recognized him in a way her human side couldn't fully understand. I didn't think it would be like this, Lily said, her voice still foreign in her wolf form, yet her words came out clear enough. I didn't think I'd feel so different. Zane's eyes softened. You're more than just human now. You'll get used to it, but the full moon can always be overwhelming. It's okay to feel this way. Lily stood still for a moment, letting the sensations wash over her. The forest felt alive, and she felt more connected to everything around her. For the first time since learning about this world, she didn't feel like an outsider. She felt like she belonged. I'm not alone, she murmured, her wolf senses picking up on the closeness of the pack, their presence surrounding her. Never, Zane said, his voice unwavering. You're part of this now. Lily nodded, the tension she hadn't known she'd been holding melting away. She was a werewolf. And with Zane by her side, maybe, just maybe, she could figure this out. Epilogue. It had been weeks since that night of the full moon, and Lily was starting to get used to her new life. Sure, there were still moments where her wolf instincts would flare up, and the pull of the moon would be too much to handle. But for the most part, she was learning how to control it. The fear had faded, replaced by a quiet confidence she didn't know she was capable of. Today was another training session with Zane. She was getting better at running with the pack, communicating with the other wolves, and learning the ins and outs of werewolf life. It was challenging, but there was a sense of peace in it now. She had a place in this world. A purpose. Zane was waiting for her at the edge of the clearing when she arrived, a smirk playing on his lips as he watched her approach. Ready for today's challenge? He asked, his voice playful. Lily rolled her eyes but smiled. I'm ready. What's it going to be today? A race? A chase? A little tag, maybe? Zane's smirk widened. Something like that. But you'll have to work for it. Lily stretched her legs, cracking her neck. Let's do it. They ran together, side by side, the wind whipping through their fur. For a moment, it was just them, two wolves in the wild, running with no destination other than freedom. The world felt right. The trees whispered their secrets to her. The earth beneath her paws seemed to hum with life and Zane. Zane was by her side, always. When they finally slowed down, panting from the exertion, Lily couldn't help but laugh. Okay, I'll admit it. That was fun. Zane leaned against a tree, grinning from ear to ear. I told you. It's a whole new world. Lily nodded, her heart swelling with emotion. She had come so far. When she first shifted, she had been terrified of losing herself, of becoming something she didn't recognize. But now, she was proud of who she had become. And more importantly, she was proud to have Zane by her side through it all. "You were right," she said, meeting his eyes. "I'm not alone." Zane stepped closer, his presence as comforting as ever. "You never were, Lily. And you never will be." She looked out at the clearing, the pack surrounding her, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly at home. In the moonlight in the wild, and with the mate who had stood by her side from the very beginning, this was just the start. And Lily couldn't wait to see where the journey would take them.